This is a short video on SurveyGNSS, the CARLSON post-processing software. In this video we're going to have a look at the virtual reference stations option. That's a separate module in SurveyGNSS, so you would have to purchase it separately. Let's see over here. I've loaded a stop-and-go survey. As you can see, we have a total of 55 points. If you look at the map here, you see the stop-and-go points. But there is one thing missing, which is the base. There's no base station. There's no local base. That could be because there was a local base, but it was not logging data, or it could be that this is data from an RTK VRS survey, and then of course you also don't have a base. You just have a virtual base. Now, what we can do is we can, for the post-processing, create a local base, and you could call this a virtual RINEX station. So we are going to use nearby reference stations and create a virtual RINEX file. So I'm going to have a quick look at my preferences. This all looks okay. So I'm just going to start virtual reference stations. First making sure I've selected one of the occupations. Okay, there we go. So the software is now going to identify the 3 closest reference stations. By the way, this is an example in France, so we're using the French course. Let's see what happens. It has found the 3 closest stations. Actually, as you can see, the closest station is 8 kilometers away, which is actually not bad. So in this case we could have also tried to use this as our base, but usually the spacing between those stations is about 70 kilometers. So it could be that the nearest physical reference station is 30 kilometers away or 35 kilometers away, and then you get baseline lengths which are not really good for stop-and-go processing. So we'll just say use these reference stations and create a RINEX file for us. Create a virtual RINEX file. So that's a bit of a process. It could take some time. While the process is running, let's for instance look at the quality of our data. So we are going to observe satellites, and then we are in for a bit of a surprise, because you see this is really not perfect data. So a lot of cycle slips. This is really the nightmare of a surveyor. Really doesn't look good. So the reason for this is probably, as you can see, the measurements were done close to, or in some case in a forest. So that doesn't really help. And if we look at our positions, and if you look at the coding, it says 3 in French. So a lot of these stop-and-go points were 3 points. You see now, by the way, that the virtual station was created here, right in the middle of the pack, you could say. So this is really a local station that was created. So let's see if we already have any vectors. No vectors yet. It's still calculating. So let's wait for a few moments and see how the result works out. Okay, there we are. So we now have vectors from a local virtual RINEX file. And if we look at the vectors over here, and we look at the baseline length, it's just around 30 meters, 30, let's say 37 at the most. But we're also seeing, looking at the quality, we have a number of pretty decent points with L1 fixes. We have a number of points which are actually not that good, where we don't have a fixed solution, also near the end of the survey. And that's of course because of the cycle slips. We can even look at the transcript, and then if we go further on down, you see here the cycle slip fixing. So this is a report on the number of cycle slips that were fixed, and as you can see, it really looks bad. There's a lot of work had to be done on the data to find a decent solution. Okay, so to summarize this, in case I want to process a stop and go survey, but I don't have a local base, I don't have a base nearby, it's possible to use the virtual reference station option. And what this option does, it will create a Rhinex base, a local base, using the 3 closest Rhinex stations. And yeah, the results, as we can see here, are pretty okay, of course depending on the quality of the data. Thank you.